Hello and welcome back to the Cartoonist Studio. No, don't adjust your set. It is me. I'm here during the middle of the week. I know I said I'd be producing a cartoon at the end of the week, and I still am. This is just an extra, not an instead of, and as well as. Right, what's it all about? Well, I'm glad you asked. You all you regular viewers will know that I produce a series within my Cartoonist Studio called What If I Drew ... And it's where I literally take a well-known cartoon character or comic strip and I draw it myself. You know, basically, what if I drew? That's the idea of it. And there's a whole playlist. They'll put the link for it down below, and there should be a reel showing up around here somewhere. And I think because of that, a few people, not many, but a few people, a trickle, shall we say, have started to say, can I commission you to draw my favourite character? Of course, absolutely, yes, I'm a jobbing cartoonist. It comes to the door, I'm going to draw it. So I've been doing a few of them, and there's a few more coming through. And on Sunday, I was doing one such commission. Now, this was off an older viewer, should I say. And he's asked me to draw some characters from the British comics from when he was young. And the characters he's asked me to draw are Plug and Calamity James. Now, Plug was part of a larger group of characters called the Bash Street Kids, and they were published in the Beano. Calamity James, I think, may also have been in the Beano or the Dandy. I forget, I'm not quite sure. But he was also from the same stable. DC Thompson published comics from them. So I said, yeah, no problem, I'll do that. And I filmed it. And I thought, you know what? I think you're going to enjoy seeing that. So I produced it, and I thought, I'll throw it in there. It's December. It's Christmas gift time. I'm giving you loads of stuff, even stuff you haven't asked for. And there may be a few more. So I may be throwing a few more in between now and the final cartoon in the last week before Christmas. And I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I mentioned I'll take a bit of a break of a few weeks off over the Christmas period. So I'm putting a few more out there so as you get plenty of me. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Don't answer that question. I may not like the answer. Right, so before we go into it, usual things, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave comments, all usual stuff. Share it like a demented sharing person, and let's help the channel grow. Okay? Deal? Deal. Right, in the meantime, I'm going to go and mess up a perfectly good set of English characters. Should we go and do that? Let's go and do just that. Right, welcome to this extra special one. Okay, as I said, I'm drawing Plug and Calamity James. And the first thing I do, when it comes to watercolour, let me explain something that I do. I used to draw straight onto watercolour paper. And you make mistakes. So you rub the mistakes out, and sometimes you'd make the same mistake again. And so you'd rub that out, and it would go on for a while. Eventually you get it right, and you come to putting on the paint, and that area that you probably overworked a little too much with a rubber or a razor, you'd find that the paint didn't stick to it, or it looked patchy, it looked a mess, and it wasn't smooth. It wasn't as I wanted it. So I thought, this is not quite right. And also another problem was when you're doing sketching, you put the watercolour over it, you can see loads of pencil lines. You can ink it, you can put a black outline around it, you can still see lots of pencil lines. I didn't want that. So I thought, best thing to do, in those days I didn't have a light box, so I just traced it through. Then my father built me a light box, which I had for years, many years, and then I bought a more expensive flat top one. So I would suggest that what I do is I draw the characters in pen, rough sketch them out so I can sketch it on a piece of paper. I then light box it through. So I just get a single line, and that works fine for me. I find that when I do the watercolour, it doesn't show through. Pencil lines don't show through. So that's my technique, and that's what I do. So the first bit is light boxing through. I'm not cheating. I have already drawn these pictures. Okay, that's stage one. And now it's on to stage two, which is the colouring. Now these are watercolours. I use a mixture of gouache and normal watercolour. The flesh tint I use, I mean, it can vary, but usually it's either a cadmium red or a vermilion red, which I wash down quite considerably, and I then mix a little or a touch of cadmium yellow to it, and sometimes, just to give it a bit of thickness, I'll maybe put some zinc white, and it just gives it more body. And of course, obviously, I go through all the flesh tones throughout the picture. It reminds me of the days when I used to colour the comics pages by hand before I got talked into using Photoshop. Something I still wonder whether I should ever have done. But anyway, I used to go through the whole comics page and draw all the flesh tones, and then all the reds and all the yellows, all the blues, and so on and so forth, all the grass, all the trees, all the various colours that were consistent throughout the page. And I still do it now. Now we're moving on to the red. Now this is just straight, either vermilion red or cadmium red, something good and strong, something a little bit of body. Water it, but not too much. Don't give it too much water. Use it quite thickly, quite heavily, shall we say, because it needs to be a solid wash. There's also a good point to be made out with these characters from the early British comics, which definitely Plug was. Calamity James, I think, is a more modern creation, say probably in the 80s or 90s. I'm probably wrong, and I'm sure someone is screaming at the YouTube channel as I speak. But I'm not quite sure when they were, but when Calamity James was brought in. But he was definitely much later than the Bash Street Kids. The Bash Street Kids have had a few changes over the years to their characters. For the purists, it hasn't gone down too well. For the modern people, well, you know, I suppose it was for them, it was done for. But in the early days, when they first started using colour, of course, they had to really save on the colour. And I could be a little bit wrong on this, but the way it was told to me is they had to save on the printing costs. So what they'd do is they'd use the main colours of red, yellow and blue, and you'll find that if you ever go through old comics or even the new refurbs of the old characters, they still have the same colours. They're red, yellow and blue, because of course when you mix those three colours together you get every colour in the rainbow. So they could literally half tone it through if they wanted purples by just using red and blue, and if they wanted the grass it would be varying shades of blue and yellow. So they found they could do everything with just those four colours. Of course, as the years have gone by, they can do all sorts of techniques and all sorts of half tones and God knows what else. So that was why all the characters were in red, yellow or blue, or a mixture of those colours. And I think finally here I just put in some grass, which was I think it was Hooker's green mixed with cadmium yellow, and then I just started darkening it with a little bit of olive green, and then smoothed off the bottom edges there with water, so as it sort of blended through to nothing. And that was pretty much the colouring done, and then it was down to the shading. With the red, red's always a difficult colour to shade. My normal or preferred shading colour is, I think I mentioned it in many videos, is red and blue, and no matter what you put that to, it does a shaded version of that colour. But for some reason with red it seems to have a very ugly effect. So what I did here was I just took the cadmium red that I'd used before, and I put a little bit of brown in there. I think it burnt umber, I think it was. A little touch of burnt umber in there, and then a tad, smallest amount of blue, which I think was cobalt blue. and that seemed to work a lot better, so I stuck with that. And then as you can see, I've got the shading here with the skin tone. That is just the skin tone with the red and blue that I said, a nice shaded colour, slightly lighter, more washed out, should we say. And this thing came through horrible on the original picture, the finished picture. That's actually quite nice, but I think because the light was on it, you can see it better here, because the light was on it, it didn't come through very well. But there you go, that's it finished now. So it did work out right in the end. Now I'm just using my normal ink and my brush. I have to, although this is all speeded up, I have to do it a little bit slower when it comes to inking on watercolour paper, because it's much thicker and it dries it up a lot faster, and quite often the lines don't come through very carefully. And I can't do it too thick because the lines go splodgy. So although this is drawn very quickly, it looks like it's been drawn very quickly. In actual fact, it isn't. It's very slowly. This process took a very long time for me, so I've speeded up quite considerably to fit it into the video. So that's pretty much it. So there's Plug, I'm drawing there. Calamity James next to him. And just finishing off with black solids. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, let me know. Like it, obviously. Give me the big thumbs up, as they say. And leave comments if you wish. I shall respond as quickly as I can. I can't always reply immediately. I do have a fair bit to do, but when I see the comments come through, there's like a guilt trip comes on with me, and I think about it, and eventually I find some time and I do reply. If it's not quick enough for you, I'm sorry, but I am doing my best under sometimes extreme circumstances. So yeah, there you go, and come back on Friday, because there'll be that video I talked about in the previous video that I did, and where I'm going to be drawing some Christmas scenes. This one will be Santa Claus, a close-up of Santa Claus with his sack shoved over his shoulder, and some background scenery, maybe a bit of snow. Show you all more watercolour, a little bit more watercolour techniques. I'll be talking you through those, and yeah, and the one after that will be Rudolph. Same thing, watercolour. Only be holding a glass of beer with his big glowing red nose, give you some idea of how he got his red nose. The owl soak as he is. And yeah, and then the final one, which will be the one before Christmas, which will be my Christmas card to you. Not sure yet whether it'll be a watercolour or a Photoshop or what it'll be. I don't know, but it'll be fun, whatever it is. I haven't even decided what it's going to be yet, so it could be very let down. I could be jumping way ahead of myself here. So yeah, so I shall now shut up, play a bit more music, let you enjoy the rest of the video, and I will look forward to seeing you on Friday. And before I go, because of these commissions are coming in a little bit more now, like I say, if you'd like one, email me. My email should be on my homepage. If not, I will leave it in the description below. If you'd like me to draw one of your favourite characters, let me know, and I'll get in touch with you and we'll sort something out, and I'll do that for you. And who knows, you might wind up on a YouTube video. I might be drawing or videoing the cartoon I drew for you, always assuming you didn't mind me doing that. Okay, right, so one on Friday, could be very well be one next Wednesday, and the following Friday, plus the following Wednesday and the following Friday. I spoil you! And I shall then go and fall asleep somewhere. Right, that's it. Have a good few days. I'll see you on the next video. And until then, bye-bye for now.